morning, sleepyhead. How are you? Yeah, you look a little more peppy since the last time I saw you. I'm very glad to hear it. Since I last saw you, I did get some results back, and as it turns out, I really couldn't get anything from your samples. They must have been bad samples. I don't think I did it wrong, but oh well. I mean, you look much better than you did, so we must have done something right. Now, as I'm a touch surprised by your recovery, and I really don't mean any offense in that, it's just, well, I mean, I was hoping you hadn't, gone a little, but it's quite common for people in our line of work to do so. I think really the only reason that I haven't is I have quite a strong sense of character and identity, and also I don't leave this library, so, But I do actually have a little eensy-weensy, tiny little task for you. Just a little favor, if you don't mind. Right, so there is a particular mission that has been passed over by several other agents of the Bureau, but I thought perhaps that you might be an excellent candidate for the job. Right, but the thing is, I would have to perform a sanity check on you before we really got into it. Right, just with your little history, if you will, and for peace of mind for both you, myself, the Bureau, and its policies. It's really standard procedure, honestly. Yeah, so we can do a little sanity check, and we'll see if we can send you off. Does that sound all right? Okay, wonderful. Now, I didn't get my normal tools of the trade out. To be honest, this is the first time that I'm actually able to participate in a sanity check, so it's very exciting, but I am a bit unorganized. Just this one time. I'm not generally, but this one time. While I suppose there was the other time with the examination, and also I didn't originally have all the papers I needed for the background check. No matter, but let me see. Alright, well, I have a towel. I don't think we'll need that, but oh, it's fresh. That's pleasant surprise. And let's see. Oh, that's where the clipboard went. Very good. I was missing this. Oh. One of your samples is tucked in there. I'm gonna just set that to the side, I think. And what else do we have? Sanitizer. Definitely need that. And what else? Oh, hey. Oh. I was looking for my lunch the other day. As it turns out, I popped it in the drawer. I don't think it's safe to eat anymore. Not unless I reheat it, right? Anyway, no matter. Let's see. So many many different items. I found a hair comb. Do you need one of those? No. I mean, I suppose your hair always looks quite nice. I mean, mine's a bit... It's the humidity, you know? I'm pretty sure. I mean, there's no moist air in this library. Let me see. There we are. Very good. Just grab a few things. And I think that'll do it. So I'm just going to pop some of the other things back, like my lunch. I'll deal with it another day. Clipboard with Agent Crow samples. I'll keep the towel out. That'll make for a nice treat later on. I'm gonna go ahead and sanitize my hands real quick. There we are. Fantastic. Now, Agent Crow, for our sanity check today, I am going to need to be touching you at certain parts of the test. Is that all right with you? Do I have your permission to do that? Very good. All right. I appreciate that. Now, let me just put that away. All right. So we're going to do this little sanity check, and I'll tell you while we're going on what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. All right. Some of these tools that I use may look quite familiar, really. And while you may think you know what they do, I can guarantee you do not know exactly what I'm doing. So that's why I'll tell you, okay? All right. So another thing, full disclosure, the sanity check can be done in a more simple way, but I may have misplaced that sort of way, so this might take a little bit, all right? All right. I wanted to be honest. It's a bit tedious, but we gotta make sure that this whole noggin right there is in tip-top shape, okay? Now, let me see. All right. We're gonna start with a very general examination of primarily your brain and your heart. Now, in Western medicine, these don't seem like it would really do anything to take a look at your heart and your brain in order to determine sanity, but we're working with a different sort of science, if you will. So, first, I'm going to use this magnifying glass here. Now, this looks like a normal magnifying glass, but this one has the capability to look deep inside your body and look more into the spiritual aspects of your body. Now, right off the bat, I can see the results of that very in-depth chakra cleansing we did not too long ago, and it looks like there hasn't really been any further damage from that particular little treatment. So that's good. I wasn't sure. I mean, with what was going on, you never know if those sort of things will creep in really quickly or not. But it looks like you have taken very good care relatively speaking. I mean, the last time I saw you, it was a little rough, but I think being able to actually see what's going on here, I can definitely tell that it's not too bad at all. So we're just taking this general little look. So what I'm looking for primarily are these deep-seated striations. Some call them wrinkles, chasms even, but I like to call them striations. It has a sort of beauty to that word, and while chasms are probably a better description of it, I don't really like the negative connotations with that word, especially when we're talking about your brain and your heart. Now, the spiritual shield, that little film that protects your heart, should be smooth, untouched, free of any imperfections, in a normal, albeit sheltered, sort of person. Now, our agents tend to acquire a striation or two, maybe 3 if it's a particularly difficult mission, and we can heal that sort of damage if we get to it quickly. But deep-seated striations are a different story. We can try to mend it, but it's quite like scar tissue, really. It's a whole different sort, and it's very difficult to treat that once it's set in. That's why we do this little sanity check before a particularly difficult mission. Now, I think overall, Agent Crow, your heart doesn't hold any of those deep striations. However, I still have to look at your head. Now, if you could just tip your head down for me. There we go. Very good. So I'm just going to be taking a little peek inside your noggin there. And I think other than, oh dear, you have quite the smooth brain here, Agent Crow. Like a chicken breast. Pink and moist. Well, at least from what I'm seeing in that spiritual shield of yours, I'm not seeing any cracks or crevices. But, yeah, smooth brain. I mean, I suppose I can see it, but, actually seeing it for myself, that's a little different. Just this soft dome here. Interesting. Now, I've seen diagrams of this particular phenomenon, but really seeing it firsthand is quite something, isn't it? Well, I suppose you're taking my word for it, aren't you? But really, Agent Crow, it's quite It's incredible, is what it is. I think overall, Agent Crow, besides the very soft, smooth, non-contoured part of your brain, I'm not seeing any of those striations that I should be looking for, which is good. Now, even though I haven't seen them, it is possible that those tiny little micro fissures, if you will, are starting in and are hard to detect by the human eye. That's why we do more testing, right? So I think of everything here. I think we're going to go ahead and just do a quick little eye test, all right? And this will tell me if you're starting to experience some of the beginning side effects of some of those spiritual striations. All right? So I want you to look at this light right here, if you will. Okay? And I'm just going to move this around, and I want you to tell me if anything looks strange at all, if you see any other sorts of lights besides this one, any double vision, anything of that nature. All right? So if you could just follow this light, it doesn't matter if you move your head or not. Okay? It's going to be a little random, but one of the core beginning symptoms is possible hallucinations with light. So oftentimes in the daytime, one can notice this quite frequently, but not so much at nighttime. So that's why we use this little light here, this concentrated point of brightness, in order to diagnose if there's any problem in your sight that relates to this spiritual anomaly, I suppose. Anything so far? Okay, I'm just going to switch hands real quick, and we're going to do some different testing here. So I'm just going to come in, and we're going to do a little look-see here. Please let me know if for any reason you're feeling any discomfort, okay? I don't need you to, for whatever reason, just snap, alright? Okay, we're gonna come back a bit. Very good. Alright, let's jump back here. And we're gonna come down here. And up here. And over here. Just little jaunts here and there. Play with distance a bit. Just try to trigger any sort of possible hallucination. Okay. We're going to move a touch quick this time, all right? I'm going to come in and out and in and jump over here, jump over here, jump, 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 jump. All right, and this might make you a bit dizzy, but it'll be for only a moment. And okay, Agent Crow, I think overall, besides the possible little bit of irritation just from trying to follow that all around, I think really that looks quite good. So I'm pleased about that. And let me see here. All right, so I'm going to take your temperature real quick. I noticed that when we had originally done our physical examination, your temperature was a bit odd, right? And temperature fluctuations can occur with these sort of, sanity bending sort of illnesses. And I just want to make sure that you don't have any of those temperature fluctuations, all right? Let's see. Okay, if you could just open your mouth and lift your tongue up, and I'm going to pop that into your mouth, and just go ahead and lay that tongue down. Now this is measuring your spiritual temperature. So similar to your body temperature, but a little different. Very good. So it looks like there are no abnormalities in your spiritual temperature. Now we're going to do a little test here in which I'm going to rely on my hearing. So I'm going to need you to be very quiet, if you will. Now, this device here looks like one of those stethoscopes that we played with the last time, right? But this particular device measures the energy tremors in your spiritual body, your aura, what have you. All right, so I'm going to be listening for any abnormalities in how that energy sounds, how it's traveling throughout your body, and see if there's just anything that shouldn't be there. All right, so again, I'm going to be primarily listening to your heart, and I'm also going to be listening to your head. Okay, now this is very sensitive, so as I said before, you're going to have to be very quiet for me. All right, just take normal, even breaths. All right, this won't take too long, I don't think. So let's see. It's a bit tricky to get this started because I gotta find the right point. Think. No, maybe here. Perhaps here. Perhaps here. And there we are. All right, Asian Crow, go ahead and just be very quiet for me. All right, I'm going to move a little bit right up here. I'm going to take a little listen, all right? Just be very quiet for me. You're doing so well. All right, and if you could just tip your head again for me, I'm going to listen to that cranium of yours. Just listening for any changes in your energy. And I'm just going to listen real deep back in there. All right, be very quiet for me. Go ahead and dip your head back to neutral position. Okay, so I think overall that sounded good, at least from the little samples that I was allowed to listen to for practice. I think that sounds quite like it's supposed to. At least I hope so, right? Yes. I think so. Well, in any case, you haven't shown any other signs or symptoms of having having a botched sanity. So I think we're doing okay overall. Yes, right. Now, I'd like to do a little bit of I don't want to say dermatological, but I want to do a sort of skin inspection with you. Now, there might be just these subtle changes. Generally, it's texture and color that I have to look out for. Texture, color. Those are the two bits that we have to look out for. So I just want to take a little peek on you. I'm going to look at your face, your ears, and your hands primarily. All right? I could also check your feet, but that's made a bit redundant by looking at your hands. All right? So I'm going to get very close. I apologize for the proximity. I know it's a bit unnerving, but I just want to be very thorough, if you will. I think I'm just going to do a little bit of touching here. So I'm looking for texture, color change. Now, color change I can see with my eyes, but texture is something that I have to feel. I'm just going to do these very soft little pats along your face. Just this little pat, 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 pat. Very gentle, very soft. And any place where there might be, well, to be honest, it gets almost like a gritty texture from the small sample I was allowed. So I'm looking for any of that grittiness. There we are. Very good. Your skin is very smooth, Agent Crow. I would ask for your skincare routine, but I don't really have any way to get any products unless they're sold online. My existence has gotten quite a bit easier since things just ship right to my door, since I can't leave, but you do what you have to. Just poking around your skin a bit. Poke, 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 poke. Poke, 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 poke. Poke, 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 poke. We're gonna do the old two-finger feel. It's not how the technique was described to me, but I feel like that's a much better descriptor. The old two-finger feel. Almost sounds like a band name. I could start a band. Two-finger feel. Lead. Everything. Quinn Curry. I can see my name up in lights. I think I would only particularly play concerts here, but on occasion I am able to see other people. It's not very often, but once in a while. Well, the two-finger feel is not yielding anything, and I'm not seeing any color changes whatsoever. Now, I'm going to go ahead and look at your hands, okay? So, if you could just hold them out for me, palm facing down, okay? Any sort of changes in the skin, I should mostly see within the areas where your veins are most visible. And any of those textural issues tend to happen along those veins. With the face, for a layperson, it's a little difficult to really pinpoint those veins, and most people don't have very visible veins in their face. Some people do right in the middle of their forehead, but with as much real estate as you have there with your whole 5-head thing, there's not really any visible veins. So I'm just going to take a little look here, feel around the veins, in between the tendons, in between the knuckles. Might be able to catch a little tendril through the fingers, but overall that's looking pretty good. The webbing of your veins is very smooth, although they are a touch pronounced, just a little bit. Either you have bigger veins than I do, or you're very well hydrated. Really could be either. Although I'm quite well hydrated because, what the hell else am I supposed to do besides research and drink whatever is on hand? But my veins are very, very thin, very spidery. It's a good thing that I haven't had to get any blood drawn or anything, because it'd be painful. It's hard to find them. Now, if you could just flip your hands over for me. I'm just going to feel along. It's a little easier to track the veins in the wrist and into the hands. Oh, there's a very pronounced vein right there. Interesting. I love how veins color your skin in a way, but perhaps it's more veins, arteries, and capillaries, right? Perhaps they all have different colors, but you get these greens and blues and purples, and it's quite fascinating, isn't it? But overall, it's very smooth, and your veins, they don't have any other colors to them besides greens, blues, and purples. So, it's a good sign. Now, I think, yes, I should take a look at your ears. And we're going to do that by using this otoscope here. Now, again, it looks like a traditional otoscope, but it's so much more. See, this has a little light built in, and this light can detect certain strange fluids, if you will. No, not that kind. It's more, the concept of ectoplasm, right? It's this sort of paranormal fluid, plasma, substance. Well, it's kind of like that. It has a similar concept. And someone whose sanity has fallen quite far, you may see some of the excretion of this fluid out of the ears, primarily. It's very rare to find it other places, although I have heard that with someone who's had a far too long unchecked sanity, it can come from the eyes, which is not very well visible to the naked eye, but it can look a little strange if you don't know what you're looking at. So I'm just going to use this little light here, and we're going to take a look at your ears and make sure that there isn't any odd sort of fluid coming out of them. Really, there shouldn't be any fluid in your ears besides possibly water, although that's quite painful if you have water in the ears. Although really, I don't want to know any sort of fluid that might be in your ears, really. I'm only concerning myself with the possibility of this, let's call it just paranormal fluid. It's not really well studied, and it's not really well understood, but I think that perhaps if I get some time, I can always work on it. But then again, when do I have time? And I'm just going to look at the other ear. And we're just going to make sure that there isn't any of this paranormal fluid coming out of the ears. It would light up like a Christmas tree if it was, and I'm not seeing anything at all, which I think is a very good sign. Very good sign indeed. Alright, I'm going to flip this off and I'm going to pop on a speculum. I don't have to actually go inside of the ears, but it is nice to be able to just look very shortly into the ear canal just from where I'm at. I don't really want to get up close and personal with your ear canals, so I'm just going to look at the outsides a bit. Alright? Okay, here we go. Just taking a little tiny little look here. Just a small little glance right at the beginning of the ear canal. Alright, very good. Doesn't take too much time at all. It's just a teensy weensy tiny little beak. It's a short little beak. Beak. Very good. Alright. Okay. I think overall you're good there. Now I only have one final test, and this one, if even the smallest amount of, well, if your sanity is low in any sort of way at all, if it's been compromised, this will suss you out. Alright? Now, I just gotta find, oh, where is it? Let me see. Just give me a moment. I apologize. I swore I had all the right tools. Oh, I don't know that I want to go through that drawer. Wonder where could it be? The Shelby twins. Looks like we're doing this the old-fashioned way. Those Shelbys. I knew I shouldn't have trusted them. Don't worry about it. It's just, I think I know where that particular tool is, and it's not with me. But we'll do this the old-fashioned way. So, this may look like a normal tuning fork, and it sort of is, but when I strike this tuning fork, it creates a sort of sound that the lower your sanity it is, the more unbearable it would be to hear it. And if you're quite normal and your sanity is normal, then it really shouldn't be anything at all. It'll be a little high-pitched, but that's about it. Alright? So, brace yourself, just in case. I mean, there's a very small chance, but we just want to be safe. So, anything, Agent Crow? All right. Anything at all? Doing all right? All right, so far, nothing. Okay, we're gonna get a little closer. Good. We'll try just a couple more times for the sake of thoroughness, but I think you're all right, Agent Crow. Very good. No noticeable difference in your temperament. I would call that a success. I think that your sanity is intact, Agent Crow. I really do. And perhaps I botched almost everything, but that last little test, that's the kicker. That one, it doesn't matter how much I goof it up. Really, if you had any problem, that would be the last stage in showing that you do. And I don't think you do. That's very good. Now we get into the meat of the discussion, right? The mission itself. Now, let me see. All right. It looks like in this brief here, so the mission would be sort of an espionage, infiltration sort of deal. And I will warn you that technically the place you would be infiltrating is a cult. Right. A cult. Yes. I think that it's tried to not appear as such a way, but it's a friggin' cult. I mean, there's nothing else I could say. It's a cult. So you're gonna have to be very, very careful. And honestly, I think so long as you stay in character, and biggest thing, don't use your real name, alright? Just go by something else and make sure that you're, keeping to that. But it's relatively low risk. The only problem is you're going to be in it, and it might take a little bit of time as well. So the cults, or as it likes to be known, the organization is called the Followers of Luween. And the followers of Luween have been around for many decades. Many decades. Almost longer than I've been around. I mean, it's been a while. And they're known for, having a lot of very powerful members. I'm not really sure what the draw is, but it's a very high concentration. See, here's the thing is, I can grab a little map for you. So this is the bureau right here, right? And the nearest town is Aurora, which is right here. And the Followers of Luween are right on the outskirts right here, all right? So you would think that perhaps some of our magic measuring equipment wouldn't be affected by that sort of distance, right? But with the amount of, let's just call them what they are, the amount of witches in that area just sends it completely haywire. So we actually have to use a lot of our equipment and store it in this little building over here. So the library is seated right here, so it's not too far. It's a little closer than the bureau itself. But, we have to give it all that more distance because of how much activity is going on. I'm surprised that really Aurora isn't in a worse state than it is, but I suppose, the mundane, they just don't really care to see any of that as much as they say they do. So your mission is to infiltrate the Followers of Luween and gain as much information as you can. Now, I don't know exactly how the members are inducted, so you're really going to have to be prepared for anything, but we will be able to communicate to a certain point. It's not going to be great, but we do have a member on the inside, and I think that it might be a little touch and go for a while, but you shouldn't be there longer than 2 weeks, perhaps. From what our member had said, the induction process can take up to a month, but generally it's about a week to a week and a half. So all that information you gain from being in the followers of Halloween, from that induction, that's going to be invaluable to us. We've been working on trying to squash that little organization out for a long time, but the members, they're very powerful. And, well, I mean, we have cool gadgets and all, but they have a slight advantage this time. So I've been doing some research into trying to figure out ways around it, and perhaps we might, I mean, it doesn't matter, but it's still going to be a little perilous, even, with the general low level of danger, because if they find you out, Agent Crow, I don't even think we're going to be able to find a body, really. So, I mean, maybe they'll be lenient and turn you into an actual crow. I don't know. But that would be the mission, is to infiltrate the followers of Halloween and give us information on them. Now, the one thing to remember is there's one particular member that I would stay away from, all right? And their name is Ayakashi, okay? So if you find that member, I would not speak to them at all. I would look the other way, go the other way. I mean, they're psycho. I deal with a lot of crazy sort of creatures and whatnot. I mean, I research them and I give that research to the agents, but what I'm saying is that one's bad news, all right? So stay away from Ayakashi, okay? There's a couple other, but they shouldn't really, they're too high up to really deal with you. So those are your instructions, okay? So we'll be able to attach you with an amulet, if you will, that creates a sort of pseudo magic so that they take you in, but you're gonna have to do some ad-libbing, I think, try to figure it out. So, are you in? Okay. I will let the higher-ups know, and I think we can get you started. We can get y'all fitted up and ready to go, okay? Alright, so Agent Crow, this was an absolute pleasure. I'm so glad to see that you're back on the Bureau's team, and I really hope you make me proud here, alright? Okay, so very good luck with this mission, and I wish you all the best. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. All right? Goodbye, Agent Crow. Where did I put my bird book?